Picture this. You're on your way to your favorite movie cinema, ready and excited to watch the latest blockbuster movie all your friends and their dogs have been talking about. Upon arriving, you notice the walls are lined with posters already advertising the next big release. You buy yourself a popcorn and head into the theater. The lights dim, and as the audience dies down, the previews begin rolling. But hold the phone, which you shouldn't even have out in a cinema unless you want this to happen to you. What I mean to say is, what led to the creation of Hollywood? To answer that, we need to rewind the clock back to 1853. Nowadays, we know Hollywood as the entertainment capital of the world, but at the time of its inception, it was nothing more than a small area on the outskirts of LA. In 1883, real estate developer Harvey Wilcox and his wife Dada moved from Kansas to Los Angeles and purchased 150 acres of land west of where Hollywood is today. On the 1st of February 1887, he proposed a plan to divide the land he had bought into smaller parts and famously renamed his new district to Hollywood. I bet you didn't see that coming. The exact origin of the name Hollywood has been a point of contention for quite a while. For years, a bloody war has raged as various sources have claimed their story is the real deal. Despite the controversy, all the stories seem to include either Wilcox, his wife Dada, or H.J. Whitley. Whitley was a real estate tycoon who arrived on the Hollywood scene in 1902, and he was instrumental to the development of the area, often being called the father of Hollywood. Anyway, the most legitimate tale behind the famed name has supposedly been extracted straight from Whitley's diary. According to him, Whitley once met a man with a wagon filled with logs who said he was hauling wood. However, due to the stranger's thick accent, it sounded to Whitley as if the man had said, "Hollywood." I know, big surprise. Let's get down to business. The show business, to be precise. You see, in 1908, a group of film producers banded together to form a trust called the Motion Picture Patents Company, or MPPC for short. They did this in the hopes of gaining complete control over the film industry in the United States. Fun fact, one of the leading members of the MPPC was legendary American inventor Thomas Edison. The MPPC became infamous for their sleazy practices and strict policies. In response, many filmmakers began to flee to LA to escape the influence of Lieutenant Lightbulb and co. Hollywood's diverse terrain and consistently sunny weather made it the perfect place for movie makers to produce their films without fear of violating the MPPC's harsh policies. The first movie made entirely in Hollywood was a short film released in 1910 titled In Old California, and other films continued to be made throughout the year. By 1911, business was booming, and Hollywood was on the rise. As such, on October 27, 1911, the Nestor Film Company opened the very first movie studio in Hollywood. Since then, movie studios have become a staple of Hollywood filmmaking. Surprisingly enough, Disney was actually considered a lower-tier company, whereas nowadays those guys could buy South America with a snap. The golden age of Hollywood began in the mid-1910s. It was during this period of time when Americans truly began to embrace celebrity culture. Stars like Charlie Chaplin were known and loved by people nationwide. Hollywood was soon dazzling audiences with movies featuring sound and color. By the time the 1930s rolled around, Hollywood's movie business was among the biggest in the US. Even during the height of the Great Depression, up to 80 million Americans were going to the cinema on a weekly basis. World War II left audiences craving laughter more than anything. This prompted Hollywood to produce some of its sharpest comedies, upended by the talent of many major comedians like the aforementioned Charlie Chaplin. By the 1980s, major advances in computer technology led to the creation of hit films like Jaws and Star Wars. It was the success of movies like these that prompted the term blockbuster, which still lives on to this day. Computer-assisted special effects have been a major factor in big-budget filmmaking ever since, and the tech involved with it has continued to evolve, drawing in larger audiences each time. Nowadays, Hollywood gives those grand, larger-than-life blockbusters the most exposure because they appeal to modern audiences' more action-oriented taste and get butts in seats. More than 1 billion in some cases. Hollywood has come a long way since its establishment, way back when. From humble beginnings as an agricultural community to a late 19th century town, and finally a filmmaking juggernaut that engages millions of moviegoers on a daily basis. It seems the perfect encapsulation of the Hollywood dream is Hollywood itself. So the next time you sit down in the theater to watch the latest blockbuster, take a moment to reflect on how far we've come, before realizing that the movie hasn't even started yet and your popcorn is already finished.